back to another episode of Talking with My Friends podcast from Recliner Sports Report. Today with me I have Heidelberg legend Dale Perkowski, DIY Dale, owner and founder of General Contracting, F1 Contracting, Family First, Contracting Second. I love it. Dale, how are we doing, man? How's everything going?
Dude, man, today has been a beautiful day. All week has been a grind, but I'm excited to be here, man. It's an absolute honor. I hope we have a riot. I hope people get to know a little bit about me. And dude, I'm like really excited to be part of this because I've been watching your stuff and I think it just continually gets better.
Thanks, man. I'm trying, right? A little bit better every day. No, and I, you know, it's funny. I've always, Dale, I've always, myself considered you as like a go-getter ever since our college days. I think you've always had that mindset of like, I'm going to earn everything that I've had. And I know one thing of that's been driving me through this whole creative process was knowing that there's guys like yourself that are going to be comfortable with being uncomfortable and take some risks and do the long game on things and know that you're not going to see success overnight. And that if you really put your efforts into it, that you're going to have something special. So yeah. You have such an interesting story, which is why I'm so glad that we can share it. So, talk us through, college graduate, college football player, you spend 4 years at Heidelberg grinding out, playing college. And then right after college, you get right into the work industry. Talk us like, what were those kind of thoughts that were going through your mind when you were graduating, that kind of like senior year, right before you got off in like your first gig?
Yeah. So the whole career mentality started my junior year. My cousin is a contractor for the Nevada test site, which is everybody knows as Area 51. So I actually applied and did a bunch of interviews to do a summer internship. Well, we ran into a problem where they wanted me to not finish my senior year of school and actually just hire me full time. And I wasn't walking away, right? We had football. We had, let's say I lost that job, I'd be up Schitt's Creek, right?
Right.
Without a degree. So I actually turned it down, which was, dude, at that time in 2011, it was like starting $60,000, which, I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I turned it down. And so coming into senior year, I was really dedicated, obviously, to football, but really, really out there networking. I think that's highly important. I think that's something that people don't talk to enough. Is, you ever heard of that title or that that simple sentence is, your net worth is your network.
Yeah.
And I think that's true, right? Like, you surround yourself with great people, great things will happen. And I reached out to a buddy that I actually met partying my nuts off at Kent State University, and I got his number, man, and all my buddies thought it was hilarious. And I said, this guy has his shit together, and he's going to get me a job one day. And sure enough, I hit him up after college, and that's where he got me an interview, and I got my first part-time job. So I didn't even get a full-time job out of college, right? I mean, I'm thankful for where I'm at, but man, I started part-time at it was like 12 or 13 bucks an hour. And they said, hey, if you do the right things and there's a spot open on the team, we'll hire you at like 16 bucks an hour. So that's kind of the beginning of it all.
Right. And then now I remember too, you've also had that like hustle mindset too. Cause I remember, you used to do, iPhones, right? Fix up iPhones and like, right. So you've always had that. Yeah. So talk us through like how that all came about.
Yeah. So I've always had this entrepreneur mindset. When I remember being a child at school, I would buy bubble gum, right? Like tons of it. And I'd sell it at school. Any way I could make money. I opened like a little bike shop out of my garage. So the whole iPhone thing came. I got an iPhone. I broke the screen, typical drunk, idiot, stupid, weekend, whatever. And I didn't want to pay full value for the replacement. So one of my friends went to Akron, and she's like, hey, this guy around here replaces phones. So he sent me a sample photo, and he never removed like some Chinese name at the bottom. And so I said, man, if this guy's charging me $70, he's probably getting these for about 15 or 20. So I started looking up this name on this, just on this photo he sent me, which led me to doing like 3 a.m. Phone calls with people in China, which got me in touch with suppliers, which then led to, the launch of iFix Unlimited, where we started with, you remember, right? It
Yep.
was, nobody had colored iPhones or phones in general. It was black or white, and I could make your phone blue, gold, whatever bullshit you wanted. And then we started replacing iPad screens. And dude, I ended up actually doing my senior project, my thesis on scaling that business in malls. And so I wanted to have like a kiosk where you drop off your phone while you're shopping. I repair it. And sure enough, like I never actually did that, but dude, people started doing that.
Dude, every time my iPhone breaks now, I'm going to the guys in the mall. Right. So, no, it just goes to show again, I think what the first point of like, you've always been a go-getter. Right. And the fact that you're going to stay up till 3 a.m. and try to figure out, hey, all right, I have something here. I'm going to go make the calls. You're going to go be uncomfortable, right? Like, who wants to stay up till 3 a.m. and go call people in China to figure out something that you're really not even an expert in, but you're going to go become an expert in, right? Because I think that's the really big takeaway is I think you can become an expert in anything if you really just look it up because the information's out there, right? I think everyone these days has one of these things, and we really do have access to lots of information, but it's out there for everyone to get, right? There's no like disadvantages. Anyone with any internet access can have the same advantages as everyone else. So the next point there is like for these, because we're in this generation now, right? Where and it's awesome and it's inspiring where you're seeing more and more people every day start their own thing, and I think it's because we're in with COVID. A lot of people were forced to do their own things because they were laid off or their work. So say now we have those college graduates, or say we have the people who are even making the seniors in high school that are making that difficult decision. Do I go to school or do I just start doing something or do I start working? What is your like piece of advice that you would give to this kind of like next up and coming group in terms of like chasing their dreams? Like what is the advice that you would want to give those next kind of people coming up?
So I think you hit the nail on the head when you talk about information is available. And I really get sick and tired of hearing people say, well, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? Like I didn't build the company I had. I scaled it in 4 years. I lost money for 3, right? Like, also, I think people need to be really aware that if they want to pursue their passion, make sure there's a monetary trade that you're happy with, right? So if you have a talent and you're going to trade that for monetary value, you have to survive.
Right.
So if you think fucking playing the trumpet on the corner is going to provide for you and your family and it's not, well, don't be in denial about it, right? You need to be a realist. And I think that's something that I think the younger generations really don't understand is you have to be passionate about what you do. But don't let your emotions take hold of that. And then you're sitting there asking for handouts because you were the one that chose your passion, right? Like
Right.
You have to find a pure balance and make it work. I also think, like I said, networking to start your own business. If you want to start your own business, when I was younger, dude, I grew up poor. And I always thought like rich people were assholes or wealthy people because I didn't know them, right? That's just what I assumed. The more wealthy people I meet and surround myself with, the more I realize those are the people that are going to help you the most.
Yep.
It's because when I didn't have money, I sat there and I had that thought process of, man, I'm jealous. I think that they think they're better than everybody, but in reality, like, dude, ever since I've kind of built and established myself, my goal is to help people.
Right.
I want to see you shine, right? I want to see anybody shine. So I think finding a good mentor is like so pivotal, man. I got a couple mentors, and here's the crazy thing that I think people need to lean on is your mentors can be younger than you. Your mentors can be older than you. They could be black, white, and it doesn't matter. What matters is if they truly are going to invest their time in you, and you better be reciprocated, right? Like you better give the time back because they're making that effort. So that's just a little touch on how to kind of build that success and make those decisions at a young age.
Yeah, and that's a big decision, but I think that's really awesome stuff because I think you're right. I think not very many people are taking advantages of the things that are just right in front of them. You know,
Yeah.
which everyone can network, right?
Yep.
And everyone can find the information, and
Yep.
everyone can put time in. It's just it's on you. It's your choice on what you want to do with it. So
Yep.
that leads us to like what you're doing now, which is so awesome, right? So you know, F1 contracting. You're in the where at in Ohio? What area are you in nowadays? Cleveland area or?
Yeah. So pretty much from Cleveland to Medina, which is about 40 minutes south of Cleveland, but
Right.
within about an hour range of Cleveland, we will take on as long as, the money's right.
Yeah, right. So as long as the money's right and the project's right, hit up Dale over at F1 Contracting. So talk me through this amazing journey because this is right. This is the hard work of going from selling bubble gum to
Yep.
fixing bikes to fixing iPhones to now you're doing what you love doing. And I know I remember watching that as DIY Dale progressed over Instagram from
Sure.
just renovating your bathroom to your parents' bathroom to friends, and now you have these projects. I remember hearing you did the layman's roof. So talk
Yeah.
us through that kind of like the first initial phases and how and where we're at today with it.
Yeah. So I've always wanted to build things, right? Like that was my passion growing up. I always took things apart, put them back together. I actually used to ask for plywood for Christmas, and they just never got it for me. It's so funny. Like to me, I guess they just didn't see how important it was. Like, dude, I would have rather had plywood than a fucking bike. Like that was my thing. Um, so when I was in pharmaceuticals, I got into pharmaceuticals, did 7 years with a publicly traded company, and I'm telling you that because it kind of builds the story.
Yep.
We were bonused heavily, but we were also like they had little contests where you would win points. Well, these points could be turned into gift cards. And I came up with this brilliant idea, I think is a brilliant idea. Every gift card, I would just get a Home Depot gift card and I would start accumulating tools. And I figured, okay, I don't have to spend a dime. I just got to work my ass off on the company I'm employed by. And like, no joke, when I launched the business, by the way, I was living in Michigan, launched the business in Ohio, had people working for me, and all the tools that I provided these guys were bought with points that I earned. Um, from there, I actually was at a point in my life where a couple relationships went bad in Michigan. I was kind of over living away from home, and I said, I want to get back. Well, my manager calls me one day when I was at pharmaceuticals, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to move back home?" And I said, "Hell yeah!" So he said, "Sweet, pack your shit. You gotta leave." And like, literally, I sold my house in 4 days, and that also is something I want to tell people about. Is if you're young right now and you ever watch this, like, buy a house. Buy a house because I bought my first house and I made 40 grand on it when I sold it. So then when I moved into my new house in Cleveland and I got relocated, like I just sold it after owning it for 3 years. And I made, after all the updates I did, 147 grand profit, right? So like there's little ways that instead of renting, if you could afford to buy, that increases your net worth, right? And it increases this money that you can just work with. So I get back to Cleveland. I'm still doing pharmaceuticals, but I have guys working for me. Well, now I'm coming up on 3 years. In the accounting world, you have to make profit after 3 years. If not, the IRS is pretty much going to knock at your door.
Right.
So, dude, I lost money for 3 years by reinvesting. I bought trailers. I bought more equipment. I invested in my people, and I just started paying them more, right? Like making them loyal and trust me and believe in me so they're here long term. So eventually I left pharmaceuticals after 7 years. I had a bunch of money in stocks. I took some of that out. I still have a bunch. I do my own management in terms of like my investment portfolio, but I went full time about 9 or 10 months ago now. And we're on track to do about 1 to 1.2 million in sales this year with me at the front. So
That's awesome stuff. And I love I love that piece about real estate too. You know, when I was over with Mikey
Mhm.
McMorrow, he was doing the same thing. You know, he made a smart real estate investment. That's one thing that I myself am trying to get into. So that's good to hear that it was, you know, it's the right move, because I think you're right. Once you build up your assets, you have options when you're ready to leave. Right? It's not you're like you said, like, you know, you're paying rent for, and you're never seeing that money ever again. You know, that money's gone. You know.
It's gone. Yeah. I mean, I even bought the house I grew up in. That's a whole nother story. But, um, dude, I bought that. There was like 16 grand in back taxes owed on it. And me making good money in pharmaceuticals, I paid 16 G's to the IRS. I took ownership. I put another 25 in it. So I don't know. I got a house for 40, 50 grand, right?
Yep.
Well, I rent it out for 900 a month now. But now I could actually borrow from that house. I
Yep.
own it outright. So now I could borrow against it. So, uh, if you ever need advice, or anybody does, like, I'm not this guy that's on YouTube and making tons of videos, but I tell you, I got a house that I rent. I bought a house for my mom that I rent to her pretty much, which is another asset that I could borrow from. I just sold my other house and made 147. And then me and my fiance just bought a house that's like a half a mil. I mean, it's like you have to continually keep growing and challenging yourself.
Yep.
You know, you do, man. Set a goal so fucking high people laugh at you, and set a goal so high it scares you. It scares you because you're like, man, can I really achieve this? You know?
Dude, that's the goosebump stuff. This is why I think, when I was saying before about, you know, playing football with you, this is, and for everyone else out there, Dale's been like this since I've known him. And, you know, I've knew this guy played with him for 3 years, and I spent 2 more years up there with him. And I tell you what, this is so fun. This is the fun one, right? Because you get to share the awesome stories with actually people doing the work and grinding it. And, you know, a lot of the people that are watching this, are also people that are trying to get into this stuff themselves, you know, and trying to build their brand. And I think that's the thing, is like, you got to build your brand, and you did it while working another job. Right. And I think, you know,
Yep.
I listen to, you know, Gary Vee's the one that I listen to a lot. He says the
Absolutely.
same thing, right? Work your
Yep.
9 to 5,
Yep.
use your gift cards to go buy that, right? Like, be smart with that. And then in your free time, you know, build your brand. So, you know, talk about the contracting. Give us a plug here. What if I'm in that area? If I'm in the Cleveland Medina area,
Mhm.
how can I get a hold of you? And what's the best way to get in touch if I'm looking for a project?
Yeah, you guys could go to f1contracting.com. So that's F as in Frank, the number one, contracting.com. Or you can email us at sales@f1contractors.com. Or you could give us a ring, man. I mean, I got it all set up. 216-400-1671. So,
Keep the change on that one, baby.
hey, keep the change, baby.
So, and what are the, like? And I know you'd mentioned before, you know, as long as the money's right and the project's right. What are some of the projects that you can offer?
Yeah, so we could do anything from a home addition, to a basement frame out and electrical and plumbing. We really do a lot of work on the whole kitchen remodel, the basement finishing, and the bathroom remodel. So any of those three, kitchens, bathrooms, and basements, those are big for us. But we also do decking as well. So
Awesome, man. Awesome. All right. Yes, that's Dale over at F1 Contract. Hit him up for any of your home improvement needs. All
right.
right. Let's get into some of the controversial stuff now, man, because this is what I love when I was at the Burger. I love surrounding myself with Cleveland
Oh man,
people,
what are you
because
bringing on?
you all are the most passionate fan base that I've ever met. You know, again, I'm a Bengals fan, but I've always been a secret Cleveland fan, just because, again, all my time at Heidelberg, all you guys were all Cleveland fans, you know, and
Yep.
again, now I'm in Boston, and I got like the Patriots fans, the Celtics fans. They're just not the same as Cleveland fans. They really aren't. You guys have that covered. So I got to know, draft. What are your thoughts on the draft for the Brownies? What's Dale's grade for them? How do you think you did?
Okay, so I mean, I think honestly the team overall is pretty good in general, right? So the draft wasn't that important to me personally, but when you break it down, I'm a defensive guy, right? Played
Yep.
linebacker, so I was pretty juiced up when they got Alex Wright in round 3. I like that. And then, gosh, I think we got 3 guys from the Sooners. It was, what was it? Perion Winfrey was a D lineman. Michael Woods was a wide receiver, and then Isaiah Thomas was another D lineman. So I think we really stacked the D line. And you know me, being a defensive guy, I don't know, man. Defense wins games. I know, Mac. You're an offensive guy.
They win championships, man. They really do.
Hey.
And you guys have a deadly up front, right? Like you got Myles Garrett. You picked up some new D linemen. You know, I think that overall defensively, and I think honestly the Browns are always scary. I mean, you beat the Bengals twice last year. Now, I know there's been some hubbub about like the coaching staff and decisions and stuff going on there. What's your thought on the coaching staff for the Browns? Are you in on them, or is it time to move on?
Can I be honest?
Yo, I would expect nothing less.
Well, hell, I'm gonna let it rain then. I really was a big fan of Stefanski and everybody there. Dude, you know me, right? I was never the biggest guy. I was kind of an underdog. I had to work my ass off. And, dude, something rings to me with Baker Mayfield and leadership that fucking people don't get unless you've played the game.
Yep.
Right? Like, you stood next to a guy and you're like, this dude would go to war for me, right? Like, he would do everything possible to win. And it bothers me that the coaching staff or whoever made this decision, he played under kind of like 2 to 3 coaches his first 2 years.
Yep.
Right. So I don't care who you are. People are going to come in and change the offense, change the playbook, and then they put Stefanski in, right?
Yep.
Baker opened the beer fridges. I think we didn't win a game for like a couple of years. And, like I remember, like I could remember that like it was yesterday. I'm like, Baker came in, brought us back, and we won the game. And I'm like, holy shit, right? Like he just brings the fire. So that he took us to playoffs, and then they played him the next year when he was hurt. Right now, you're the coach. You're making that decision, and what I don't understand is everybody's mad, and now they're down talking Baker. Bro, you know damn well if you and I wanted to play and we were hurt, like I remember when I hurt my back, they were like, you're not fucking playing because we need you for the next game, right? Like that's just how it is. But you're going to let Baker play and then you're going to blame him for being hurt and then you're going to replace him. Like that just really, it bothers me still to a core because I know I just don't get it, right? Like I don't. And Deshaun, he's a great quarterback. He is. And we're talking ball, right? We're not talking about who he is as a person. I don't know. I would rather not see him at our quarterback just because I think what they did to Baker really bothered me.
Yeah, and you bring up there was no exit plan for Baker. If that's the case, you bring in someone like Deshaun Watson out of left field.
Yep.
When you've clearly shown for the last 3 years that Baker's your guy, and you have no communication to anyone about why you're doing this. And now you're thinking, okay, if I was Baker, a guy who's, like you said, I've literally poured my blood into this team, and I'm not getting communicated with on these big decisions. I mean, that's a big move, right? You have a starting quarterback, and you go and pick up Deshaun Watson like that and then the whole world is what's going on. And so now you got this whole thing going on, and you've really, as a coaching staff now, has created this culture and this negative energy, and now you're stuck with it because no one knows what to do, or the trade value for Baker is no one's going to give him the right money for it.
$18 million sitting on a contract,
right? And so,
I got this little conspiracy that I'm floating around in my head, and I don't want to like put it out there, but dude, if I'm him, right, you're forced to come to camp once it starts. And I think it's like mid-July it starts. I'd come back fucking hair on fire because you're there. Like, if you don't get traded by then, you better ball out.
Right. And
then I would just every day I would wake up and I'd fucking have Sean Watson's picture above my goddamn bed, right? Like this, so I'm going to be better than this guy. And when I go to bed, I'm going to be better than this guy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that's the kind of guy he is, you know? So make that situation the best situation that you can, because rumors are floating that Deshaun may not even play half the season, right?
Right.
Who's to say Baker doesn't play well? Well, now you're definitely in a pickle, right?
Yep.
Now Stefanski's like, well, Baker's balling out, and now we have Deshaun coming back. You'd be a fool to take Baker out.
Right. 100%. And if he does stay and he doesn't make the starting, you do have one of the best backups now. And we know as football, quarterbacks get hurt a lot. I'd say as the Bengals, if Joe Burrow gets hurt, we're up Schitt's Creek ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So for us, I would love to if my backup quarterback was as good as Baker Mayfield. That would be, you know what I'm saying? So it is going to be.
Why would a quarterback get hurt? Whose fault is that usually?
Yeah, that's the offensive line for sure, dude. I tell you what, man. I'm happy with what the Bengals did in free agency for the offensive line. I know, especially up here, everyone gave us crap last year for getting Chase. I was a fan of it. I wanted it. I actually wanted Devontae Smith out of Alabama, but then when I understood him and Burrow played with each other, that was the right move. And as you can tell, it played out. But we definitely gambled. And even the last game, even the Super Bowl, Joey got hurt. And we definitely need to improve that. But you're 100% right. It's 100% the offensive line's fault. As a former offensive lineman, it was pitiful to watch us try to pass protect, just being a nice swinging door. That's like me back at scout team with Matt Greaves punching my face in every day.
I played center all the way up until college, man.
Right, and it's a tough position because no one ever only knows your name when you're getting a penalty or you're giving up a sack. But you got to protect your franchise quarterback. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what the Brownies do. Again, I'm afraid of them. It's always tough playing in Cleveland. It's always tough playing the Browns. Even I remember going to a Bengals-Browns game in Cincy, and you would have thought I was at Cleveland. I literally couldn't even use one of the bathrooms because you had Dogtown representatives kicking Bengals fans out of bathrooms in Cincy. So, so you guys bring the juice. It's always going to be a hard-nosed game. Honestly, our division, the AFC North, it's the best division in the NFL.
Hey, Midwest football, baby.
It really is. And, honestly, I had that appreciation when I went and played up in Ohio, and then I got to recruit these Ohio athletes. I came from Florida where, we're run, gun, speed, and, flashy, right? But tough. That is what I would say is the verbiage that I would use for Midwest football players. All right. So speaking of Ohio, and now we're switching tunes to basketball here.
Oh yeah.
Bron is not doing too well, I think, over in LA. Stuff's going on. We got Bronny Jr. coming up. Would you want to see Bronny and Bronny Jr. ride it out one last time in Cleveland, or do you
so is he coming out this year? When's Bron Jr. coming out?
I don't know if it's this year. I think he's in another.
We got a year or two.
Yeah. Yep.
Dude,
do you want Bron back in Cleveland, or is it going to bring up?
I don't want Bron back in Cleveland by himself. but I would pay to see, that to me, right? I'm a family guy, and I'm a very philosophical guy. That's just so fucking cool, man. For him to be able to play with his son. I just thinking about it, kind of emotional, right?
It's like watching Tiger and Charlie play. It's like, it's just something you want to see. It's very rarely. I can't even name to you one other maybe the Griffies. If not, maybe if they.
Oh yeah, that's so funny.
Once,
I just saw an article about that. Yeah, the Griffies.
Really? Yeah. So it's very rare you see it. So like you said, I'd probably fly to Cleveland. Hopefully, I'd hang out with you. We'll go to the game if that happens, buddy. Sign me up.
Sign me, baby.
All right. Well, we're getting close on time, so I'll go into the last one for us. So this one's interesting for me because again, the information's out there, but crypto and NFTs, man. I feel like for some reason, with the entrepreneurial mindset you got, what's your opinion on this stuff? And I know you just said, you're in the stocks. What is it? The future? Is it fake? What Are we missing out? Do we need to get in? What's the DIY Dale's thoughts on this one?
All right, so I think crypto is the future. I have a hard time. I like control. I'm a control freak with business because I've been burned on business, right? Like I've lost lots of money, man. I've lost tens of thousands of dollars doing bad deals. And one thing I've recognized is the stock market allows me to look at a company, look at its leadership, look at even down to the sales personnel, right? And every quarter, I understand the direction of that company. So that's why I live and die by my stocks, because I don't necessarily control that company, but I can control pulling my money in and out based on my entrepreneurial, experience.
Right.
Where crypto, where am I understanding, or where am I losing that thought process of what does it mean, right? Like,
right.
You don't know, and nobody knows. Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? It fluctuates.
A roller coaster, man.
Bitcoin today was under 30 grand, right? Like
yeah.
It was up to 60 before. So you lost 50%. Now you get me all fired up, because when you're talking money and breaking it down,
Right. Well, dude, I'm down $20 in crypto right now. I do it through Venmo. I'll just throw a little bit in, but it's the same, and again, I like to compare it to, it's even worse than gambling, because at least for gambling, I feel like I've done research, right? I feel like I've invested my time.
Entertaining, right?
Yeah. Right. With crypto, like you said, dude, I've gotten notifications all day, up, down, up, down, up, down, and you're like, and again, so, but now
no just cause, right? Like it's not like they had a bad earnings report and they're like, oh, they had a bad quarter and not a lot of sales. Like, no,
right. So you bring up good. So on the stocks, so as someone who's in it, what would you say to someone that's just getting into the stock market? Because you said you manage your own portfolio, so what shows you can do this stuff on your own. What is the what's the first step that someone would want to do getting into the stock market?
So I learned a lot of my experience from pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals is very insulated from a recession that we may go in right now, right? And what that means is, dude, the price of drugs ain't going up or down. Like, you need medication or you're going to die, is that type of thought process, right? So I say insulated because those stocks may get dumped a little, but overall they're pretty insulated. People need their medication. So I think pharmaceuticals is a big thing. I think right now and moving forward, it seems like the agenda is battery, right? And stuff like that. Find a company that is early off. If you're just getting into stocks, find a company that's early off, like a new IPO launch, and understand, hey, they got a good product. If they have a legitimate good product and you think it's going to sell long term and there's a need for it, buy in now, man. I'll tell you this. I was at my pharmaceutical company. I don't want to put their name out there, for 7 years. Okay. I was buying stock at $8 a share.
Oh, wow.
When I left, it was 115.
Wow.
Okay. So I'm talking thousands of shares I got, and so it's like, that was my 401k, was buying stock at a discounted rate because of the plans they had. And so you got to be patient. All these kids these days that want to make, $1 million playing crypto. One thing that I know that has never been opposite is the stock market continually goes up over time. It's a proven fact.
Yep.
If it's down right now, which it is, I mean, I'm not lying. I'm down a couple hundred G's in the last fucking month.
Right.
But I'm not scared. They're trying to shake. And that's another thing, right? Like, you're not out until you sell. So don't let people shake you out and get you scared. The institutions want to shake people out. You and I, we're basic average people that are getting by and learning as we go. And they don't like when we get wealthy. That's it. So hang in there.
We're cutting it, right? Hold the line. Hold the line.
Hold the line, baby.
Hold the line, baby. Oh, that's awesome, man. All right. Well, Hey, Dale, it was great having you on, man. Thanks so much. Again, you have been such an inspiration, I know, to myself. I really do mean that, not just from our playing days, but again, I really did mean that. Your go-to attitude has really helped remind me that if you want something, go get it. Put your right as the Berg. Put your hard hat on, right? Get to work, man. Right?
We're
Go
dog
go
soldiers, baby.
right,
We are
dog
dog
soldiers.
soldiers.
Rip that iron, put your head down, go to work. People have something to say about you. Great, at least they're talking about you.
Yep.
um, but hey, man, we got to get you back on the show another time, especially during once the season starts here.
Yep.
You're always welcome. Again, everyone in the Cleveland, in the Ohio area, reach out if you're looking for home improvements. Reach out to Dale. He's great people. That's the other thing. Besides just the great work, you're going to be dealing with a great person, and I think that's really the experience is the best part of any business. And so you got to be able to work with someone you trust. And I'm telling you, he's top of the line, top notch. Again, thanks, Dale. Thank you so much. And until next time, keep crushing it, baby, and keep the change, man.
Hey, appreciate it, brother. Keep the change.